Blessings to all, and welcome to another episode of Elevate the Mic. And I'm your host, Max Mupese. Today is a wonderful day, not only because we have somebody I consider as a thought leader in music, a deep thinker when it comes to making art, a teacher, a coach, a father, and also a husband. But I also want to let you guys know that he's somebody who raises the bar high for musicians and creatives. So let's all welcome Merker, or even AKA Cali. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. You?
Man, I'm blessed.
Thanks for having me.
Blessed and highly favored. How you feeling? You
You
glowing, man. Your
feeling
skin's
good,
glowing.
man. yeah, I'm out here, you know. Got me blushing with that intro, you know. Flattering and humbling. I appreciate you, man.
Amazing, amazing. So yes, for anybody who's watching this for the first time, does not know that you also you are a music producer, a creative. You have a home studio, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Could you tell us about Cali, or even why the name Cali or Merker? Because your name's Chris, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, for sure.
Got it.
Yeah, my government name's Chris. When I moved from California to Montreal, it was my day one flesh. He called me Cali boy. He's Trini, you know, so the boy at the end of
Right.
at the end of everything. So he called me Cali boy, and the Cali just stuck. So everybody started calling me Cali, and then from there I created Merker Music to try to give myself an umbrella, like a company that I could release music under. And then people started calling me Merker, you know, so it was like, okay, so, and I fought it at first, but I'm just like, work with whatever's working, you know, so people started calling me Merker. I accepted, and now Chris, I'm so far removed from Chris, it's only really like my family back in France, you know,
Right.
that calls me Chris, but yeah, it's all parts, different parts of me, you know.
Got it. Totally understandable. And you said from France. You were born in France.
Yeah, born in France. I moved out to Vancouver, and then I moved to California, and then from California I moved to Montreal.
Okay.
So Montreal, I've been here for over 20 years now. This is like, you know, it's
Right.
my home, you know. But,
Permanent resident.
Yeah, for now, you know. But actually, honestly, I love Montreal. Like, I know a lot of people try to leave. I think it's a beautiful city. There's a lot of complaining and frustration from people that live in the city, but I think that's a little bit everywhere. But when you travel, you go to other countries and stuff, and you come back, you really see how safe it is here and how good we have it. It's really like, you know, just appreciate what we have here and just you know, make the best of it.
That's it, man. And for you, as anybody who, well, you traveled in different countries, like you said. You went, well, Canada, obviously. Vancouver's in Canada, but you spent some time in Vancouver. You spent some time in LA.
So the Bay Area, actually, Northern California.
Okay.
It was Northern California, yeah.
Okay.
And so
You got
that.
some of that slang also.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, all the slang that we use, it comes from the Bay Area.
Which is
you know?
crazy.
It's really where it starts. You know, everybody knows Snoop Dogg for Shizzle, My Nizzle, and all that stuff. You know, but it was E40 that started that. And it was actually mans in East Palo Alto that started it. That E40, you know, like kind of made it bigger from. And so, but it all comes from the Bay, man. They're really innovators out there, and
Like Frisco.
yeah, San Francisco,
Vallejo.
Oakland. Yeah. It's there's so many. It's like a bunch of big cities close together, so it's like there's big energy there, and it's a whole industry in itself. People, well, not anymore. Back in my day when I was living there, it was selling CDs out the trunk, you know, and people would sell, you know, 10, 20, 30,000 out the trunk, no problem. And if you're doing that independent, like, you don't need a record label, you don't need, you know what I mean? Like, you're literally making hundreds of thousands of dollars direct from the consumer. So it was like its own little hub, you know, this own little energy source. And it taught me the hustle, the importance of the hustle, because when people think California, they think a lot about the gangbanging culture, which comes from LA.
Right.
But in the Bay Area, like, it's all about getting money. That's
Okay.
really what it's about.
All right.
So it's the hustler mentality, you know, and I definitely took some pieces from there and came here and applied it
That's
here.
powerful. Because the reason why I'm asking you this question, you moving around in different countries, or even having to spend some time in different countries, what would you say, how important was it for you to build that community mindset, or even having a collaborative approach whenever it comes down to, you know, your artistic career?
Well, it comes back to the Bay where I would see artists, big artists, do collaboration albums. You don't really see that elsewhere. Like you start to see it a little bit here and there, but you know, like people know the Jay-Z and R. Kelly one that was gonna come out, but right when everything kind of went left for R. Kelly.
Right.
But all that stuff, I seen it in the Bay, so I seen the power of really bringing two forces together and just the power of a collaborative effort. It's you can only do so much by yourself. I think somebody, past astronaut, just dropped this one on me. It's a cliche, but he said, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Right.
So it's just that power of moving together as a unit, you know.
Got it. You also once quoted that whenever you work, because you have a background of a musician, you have a background of a singer-songwriter, of course, you have a background of a producer, music producer, as well as a engineer. People don't know. So you've said something that, to the effect, whenever you work with an artist and that artist keeps the music in the vault, you always feel like it's waste of your energy, even waste of your time. Do you still feel that way? And why would you say that exactly?
Yeah, so I don't think so much, like, so I definitely said that out of frustration. There's definitely a bit of frustration there.
Yeah.
But like, so I don't feel that way anymore. I don't think it's a waste of energy. I've gotten to like appreciate the magic of just the moment, you know, like art, when art is created, like that's the magic, you know, like you could share it with everybody. If it resonates with people, all for the better for sure. But really the magic is just in the creation, you know, so just being able to be a part of those moments and seeing something come to life, I realize it's not a waste at all, you know. But definitely that comment came out of I mean, because I've just spent so many hours in the studio, you know, working with so many different artists.
Right.
And so, and it's not even on the sense of as a producer, like really as an engineer. Like if an artist comes in, so even if I didn't make the beat, even if I didn't write the song, you know, and they're just coming to record, I'm still trying to see whatever I can do to make the song better. I'm gonna throw out some ideas, you know, I'm gonna hear some stuff, some echoes that we can add, you know, maybe switch the verses around, you know what I mean? Like, and like my ear's always on, right? I'm never just sitting there pushing buttons. So if I'm hearing stuff, I'm trying to contribute. And so in the end, it's like I put a little piece of myself in it, even if I didn't produce it or even if I didn't write it or anything. And then so for sure you want to see the reaction of people. You want to see how it resonates with people. You know, it's kind of like the last piece of the puzzle. You know, and so, and it's more so just the fact that from the artist's point of view, like if you've created this, like share it. You know what I mean? Like there's so much beauty in sharing it and showing that vulnerability and putting yourself out there, and you'd be surprised, you know, what you get back. You never know what you're gonna get back, and there's just so much magic in it. I say do it, you know, like with no expectations, just release it, and you never know what'll happen.
Based on your experience, because you've worked with countless of artists in the city, some of the biggest names, Boy Blue, I can name a bunch of artists, but you know, just that moment with Boy Blue, I remember when he had his moment, and he's still working, still making his thing. He's still doing his thing. But what would you say is something that is holding artists from really releasing that music, like for the most part, because you're almost like a psychologist, right?
Yeah, so actually, you know, it's funny you say that, because like, especially through COVID times, I realized how much I am, like, it's therapy. Like, so I don't consider myself a therapist, but music is the therapist, and like having a studio just kind of gives people the medium to make that happen. And I've just heard it so much time and time again, how people come to do a session and they say it's my therapy. They literally say it. It's not like they don't even realize it. They realize, and I think it's from that I've realized that, okay, like whether they release it or not, it's not, you know what I mean? Like not everybody's trying to be the next biggest rapper or the biggest singer or whatever. There's something therapeutic about just creating and just doing it for yourself. And I actually think that even doing it like that gives you even a better chance of reaching people and of doing something big, because trying to like strategize and scheme and make like, oh, you know, like this will be big because this is the sound right now and this is how people are saying things, and like if you do that, like even if you make a really good version of whatever you're trying to make, it's going to feel fabricated, you know, it's not going to come across genuine, it's not going to resonate with people. Then you're going to have somebody that just like turns on their phone and does a little a cappella with no beat in the back, and that's going to go millions of views, you know what I mean? Because I feel like right now it's really, people attract to what's genuine and heartfelt more than what's like overly produced and too thought out. It's kind of just like go with the motions, and it'll resonate with people. But when it comes to artists not releasing their music, I think it's definitely a fear. It's a fear that steps in their way. They don't want, they're scared of how people are gonna take it. They're scared maybe people aren't gonna like it, or you know, when you pour your heart and soul into a song and then somebody's like meh, or like starts talking, you know, a bar into the song, it's like, I really put my heart and soul in the song, you know, and it's like it just doesn't resonate with them. Yeah, it'll affect you. It could hurt, but it's like, that's really if you're seeking that validation, if you're looking for that, if you're just creating because you have this undying need to just express yourself, then it doesn't really matter what happens after, you know. It's, if it resonates, it does. If it doesn't, it's still a piece of you. Maybe like 10 years down the line, it'll resonate with people. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know. So it's just, you put it out there. Look how many painters, their paintings, it's only, you know, after they pass, I think that can happen with any art, you know, and we're in this like instant gratification society now where it's like, I work on a song, I release it, I want 1 million people to tell me how amazing I am right away, and it's just doesn't work like that, you know, especially when it's genuine art. You just gotta just put it out and see what happens.
Got it. Now, I talked about how you have a home studio, right? So could you let people know what a day in the life of Merker looks like?
For sure. So it's not a home studio. It is in a residential spot. So a lot of people ask me like, but it's just it's like it's a 2.5. You know, there's no bedroom. There's a bathroom and a kitchen, but so it's just a studio, and really, and I try to keep it separate because especially before I used to work full time during the day and then do the studio at night. Couldn't have people in my house, you know, till 3-4 o'clock in the morning blasting music and all that. So I've always and I kept it separate from my home life. But day in the life.
Make that correction. It's not a home studio.
Yeah,
it's an actual studio. Go ahead.
But yeah, day in the life. I mean, I usually get to the studio maybe 7-8 o'clock in the morning, you know, and then it can vary from day to day because there'll be a day where I'm just doing sessions all day, maybe 8 hours of back-to-back sessions, 3-4 different artists coming through. Those days are kind of more hectic. It's a lot of energy shifts and, you know, like adapting. And so those days are a little more tiring, but could have a day where there's only one session, and then the rest of the time I'm either working on instrumentals, or there's mixes that need to be done, or I'm filming content, or graphics too. I've been starting getting into graphics lately. So there's just always something to do, you know, and it's, and then answering messages all day. If you're gonna run a business, unless you have somebody handling that, it's customer service 24/7. You know what I mean? Like, and I work with artists, so if artists is having a mental breakdown at 3 o'clock in the afternoon because the ending of their song is not right and whatever, you know what I mean? Like, even if it's not my job, but it's like, sometimes you could just be like, the song is good, you don't have to worry, you whatever, and it's like, oh, it means the world to them. It's like, you got to do that. You can't just be like, bro, I'm busy right now, I'm not dealing with this. It's like, it's all part of it, you know. So you have like these emotional, erratic artists that are all over the place. They're hitting you up at 2 o'clock in the morning because the beat that they loved 20 minutes ago they hate now, and they don't know what to do, you know. It's like, so it's the customer service. So that's all throughout the day. But then and I definitely work too much, but then you got to make time for the family, you know what I mean? So you know, dinner time, I usually work up until my son calls me to come pick him up, you know, and then it's family time until that dies down, and then at night I might go finish up some stuff. And but it's basically it's music 24/7, you know what I mean? It doesn't stop. You wake up, there's messages on the phone, and it goes throughout the day, you know.
You're passionate about it and you care about it. That's important.
Yeah, for sure. No, I wouldn't be able to, like, I've had youngsters like come to the studio and they see how much I charge per hour, and they're like, oh, I need to open a studio, you know. And I'm just like, in my head, I'm just like, right, like, there's so many things you can do to make money. Like, this is not, you know what I mean? Like, it took me doing this for 20 years, you know what I mean? And like, not sleeping for 10 to 15 of those years, and just, you know what I mean? Like, I would watch people do stuff, go out, have fun, whatever. Me, I'm working studio, you know what I mean? But I didn't mind it because it's what I love. So and that's the only reason. If I didn't love it, I would have never got to the point where I'm able to do it full time and live off of it. There would have been so many times that it's just like, it's not worth it. You know. So
I mean, you get to see all of it, mental breakdowns, you get to see people pouring out their emotions after a breakup. I mean, you ever thought of yourself
Yeah.
like, I need a license for being a therapist or something like
Yeah,
that?
legit,
It's
absolutely.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, you guide them. There's some sessions, you know, the first 30 minutes it's just talking. It's you know what I mean? It's oh my God, like they're just talking. It is like literally a therapy session for the first 30 minutes, you know. They get out with whatever they need off their chest, they settle, and once they're comfortable, then they go into the booth and then we get to the business, you know. So it's
Got it.
definitely therapy slash studio session.
Right. Is that one of the reasons why you call your studio the clinic?
Absolutely. So absolutely. Oh, and it's crazy that Tegan's was just here
Right.
because so the clinic it came from. Um, Tegan's was calling himself Mr. 514 at
Yes.
one point. So he was calling himself Mr. 514. So it's like, if he's Mr. 514, then I said, I'm Dr. 438, you know? Because I didn't want to go with Mr. And,
Right.
you know, like Dr. Dre and all that. He's a producer I really look up to. So I
Yeah.
said, you know, if he's Mr. 514, I'm Dr. 438. And Prezi was there, and Prezi was like, oh, yeah. It's like, and this is the clinic.
Mm.
I was like, oh, so I just, like, I forgot about the Dr. 438. Like, I was just fooling around, you know what I mean? I was just
Right.
joking. But the clinic, I was like, oh, that's dope. Like, people come here for, you know, to get stuff off their chest. They feel better when they leave. It's therapeutic. I'm like, yeah, I really like that. So,
Mm.
gets to make me feel like a doctor, like Dr. Dre. And at the same
Right.
time, you know, I'm helping people.
And because you talked about Montreal, how you feel like the city itself has a lot of great things, to bring, or even
For sure.
there's certain things that are unique about the city that you appreciate.
Absolutely.
What would you say? What gives you confidence in the hip hop scene in Montreal specifically?
So it's really seeing the growth over the last years because, like, when I moved to Montreal, you know, there really wasn't a scene. I mean, I don't want to say wasn't a scene. I don't want to disrespect people that were putting in work before I got here, but I'm just saying it was really like in its infancy, I would say. And I got to see it go from artists. They started, everybody was just doing their own thing in their own little corner, and then people started collaborating. So you're asking about the collaborating efforts. It was really seeing other artists start acknowledging that, oh, okay, you're putting in work in the city too. It's you're not a like you're not competition really. Like you're building bricks on that side and building bricks here. We're all building together. You know, it's not my castle, it's not your castle.
Right.
It's a scene we're all building together. Once people saw that, started collaborating. You know, there was that era that you're talking about with the Boy Blues and Millie Mills and High
Yes.
Blast. It was really bubbling up, and it was a great feeling in the city. Some tragedies definitely, you know, like stopped that momentum, but still seeing it recover from that, and even seeing like what the French side is doing, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day we're in a Quebec we're in a French province, you
Right.
know, like in Montreal it might feel like 50-50, but the province as a whole is probably 90% French, 10% English, you know what I mean? Like the little part of Montreal is the only part that's really English. So, you know, to put Quebec on or Montreal on, it makes more sense that it'd be a French artist first, you know what I mean? There's so much
Right.
more of that. So seeing the French scene really bubble up and doing the millions on YouTube,
Yeah,
and
man.
the record label Septième Ciel, and these guys, they sold out the Bell
That's
Center.
huge.
Like, right,
Can't
we're not
forget
talking
that.
about, you know, renting a little local anymore. This is big boy stuff. So when I see that stuff gets me excited, because for me it just shows like where it's headed, because it's only going to keep growing. And I mean, even Montreal, just Montreal as a whole, a lot of people are looking at it more on the basketball side. People are, you know what I mean, really making a
Right.
name. It's like, these are the kind of things that need to happen for a city to get on the map. And I feel like that's what's happening right now. So it's,
I love it because you're giving a lot more of a realistic, optimistic approach. A lot of people complain about the smallest stuff, but you're really actually talking. You're giving tangible examples, and those are results we could look up online. We see for ourselves, and some of our environment. Well, the environment is changing all across the board.
absolutely, yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, if you see somebody rent out the Bell Center, I mean, I don't know how that doesn't inspire you, you know what I mean? Like, you complain, oh, it's French. Like, no, man, it's music from Montreal, you know what I mean? And it's coming, it's coming.
Got it. And you also coach or even mentor a lot of emerging artists, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, sure.
You've coached and even mentored singer-songwriters, obviously. What would you say is something that you've realized from today's generation that was not, present, was not necessarily visible at that time when you started making music? And what is the feedback you're getting for the most part?
So I would say the big difference is that when I was coming into the music scene, it was still like record labels running everything, you know, and so it was still kind of like the goal is to like get signed, you know what I mean? Everybody wants to get signed.
Mm.
And the big difference that I see now is that like that's not really people's goals anymore. You know, people see that you can pretty much do it more or less yourself. You know, like obviously you need a team. You can't do everything yourself, but everything that the record label does for you, you can put a team together and do it yourselves. You know, now so it's a lot more artists just focusing on their crafts and being aware of, you know, like what they're doing, how it's marketing, and you know, like before, like I said, people were just like working on their craft and trying to get signed, and now people are just really taking their career into their own hands a lot more, and just being aware, and they're seeing it's a lot of work too. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think the fact that the opportunities are there and people are able to do it on their own, it encourages a lot more people to try, and I'm seeing a lot of people just go for it more than back in the day where people would give themselves excuses and kind of avoid taking those risks. You know?
Got it. And some of the feedback that you're getting from working with, like, let's say today's artists, do you feel like the feedback is a feedback that you deserve? Meaning, like, okay, you know what, you're helping me getting from point A to point B, and I've gotten certain results. And how do you really see
I
that
don't.
going?
Honestly, I just enjoy helping them. You know, so I'm not looking for anything on the back end. Like I've always said, yeah, every artist, not every artist, but a lot of artists that come and record, you know, they tell me, "Yo, when I blow up, I'm taking you with me." You know what I mean? Like it's something that I think a lot of engineers hear, and I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like for me, it just shows that like there's this like they wanna, like I guess they're feeling like I'm helping them, and when they get on, they wanna help me back. You know what I mean? So me, I appreciate it. I love it. But like that's not what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? I'm not looking for anybody to put me on. I'm doing the work I'm doing. I would just love to see somebody blow up. Like just actually I sat down with Aza to make a song a few years
Shout
back.
out to her. She's making noise right now.
Yeah, she's doing her thing, and see, like she went to Toronto and whatever. So it's like we don't work together closely, you know, but she's a good friend. And I got to sit down and start a song with her, and that song just hit 1 million streams, you know, on Spotify. So it's like that's amazing. That's like, you know what I mean, like feedback enough. You know what I mean? I don't need like anybody to tell me, oh, thank you for this, or I really appreciate you doing that. It's like I see it in the results, and that's all the appreciation I need.
So she records often at your studio, or
No. Well, like I used to record her back in the day when she was in Montreal. We worked on many things, but she moved to Toronto a while back, and so like since then, I'm pretty sure she either records herself or she goes to studios out there, you know. But I've recorded her a bunch of times on different songs, features she did for other people and stuff. So yeah, she's one of the best singers I've ever worked with, for sure.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Those are testimonials you live with. You know, at the end of the day, some certain things, like you said, are not necessarily. It's not necessarily like you want to share all of the information. Like, oh, I've worked with this person, I've worked with that person. We were able to do this, that, and the third. But once you know for yourself that you were able to create magic, and even if it's in a vault, or even if it's a memory between you and that person you share, that's all that matters, really, at the end of the day, you know?
Absolutely. And like where you're saying, I know there's a lot of people, especially in music, that love to throw the credits around. You know what I mean? Like I did this, I did that. I don't, honestly, like sometimes I hear people tell me about the stuff that I've done, and it's stuff that I've forgotten, you know? But I much more enjoy hearing other people tell me, oh, like you did this, you did that, and it's like, oh wow, like that makes me feel good. But it's not me like telling everybody, oh, I did this, I did that, you know what I mean, or trying to like throw my accomplishments or whatever in people's face. I do it for the love, and then like when it comes back, it just means so much more to me. For one person to give me one flower, you know what I mean, like I cherish that, as opposed to me just like throwing my own flowers all over the place all the time. You know what I mean? Like I think it kind of waters it down. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just, you know, let the flowers come when they come, and they're super appreciated, and then they're like little reminders of stuff that I've done. But like there's so much more that I want to do. You know what I mean? So it's not I don't ever just like sit back and feel like, oh yeah, man, I've done so much. No, I feel like I feel like I'm just starting. You know what I mean? Like every year is like, okay, this is the year. You know, and we keep pushing. You know.
That's it. People don't know that you've been making music from years, like even over what, 15 to 20 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Over 20 years, yeah, absolutely.
Hey, can you tell us about your current mindset when it comes down to making music these days compared to, you know, when you first started, and what today's generation could learn from your experience?
Well, for me, when the biggest difference is that when I started, I definitely wanted to be the biggest artist in the world. I wanted to sell out stadiums. I wanted people to.
That was before making the NBA, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, once I gave up on the NBA, then it was be the number one artist in the world, and I think it's kind of like a situation where they say reach for the stars. You might not get the stars, but you won't end up with a handful of dirt either. And so it's that kind of situation, where I was shooting for the top of Mount Everest. I didn't get to the top of Mount Everest. Maybe one day, you know what I mean. I'm not closing that door, but I definitely landed somewhere along the way up the mountain, enough to enjoy where I'm at and be in a space where, I hear a lot of artists say like, okay, I'm gonna stop doing music. If I don't make it by this time, I'm gonna stop. And that, to me, that's just kind of weird, because if you make music from the heart, if you're really an artist, you make it because you have this undying need to express yourself.
Yeah.
Why would you stop that? You know what I mean? Like, and so just do it because you love it. And that's where I'm at now, to say as an artist, I make music because I love making music. I'm never going to stop. I'm not out here like planning my next 3 albums and a marketing tactic and saving money to put into promotion and whatever, which is what you need to do if you want to have a successful album. I'm literally just doing it for the love. I'm letting people discover the music. I'm putting myself out there, not just as a musician, as an artist, as a producer, as a graphic designer, as a comedian, as an actor, as a writer, you know what I mean? Like all these things I'm trying to do, and then when like if whatever I do that speaks to you kind of resonates, you say, oh, okay, this guy's cool, and then you say, oh, and he does music, like I'd rather that than me be telling you like, listen to my new song, check out my new album. It's like I see that all up and down my timeline all day. It's not like I don't click on them, so I don't know I don't know if other people click on them, but it's like you got to give me something else, you know what I mean? You got to give me more of a reason to listen. It can't just be your new song is out. That's not enough, you know what I mean? Like,
what I understand is that you do what you like, you display different parts of yourself, different sides of yourselves rather. What would you say, like, let's say anybody who's watching this right now does not know how to approach reaching out to a DJ, whether it's like back then we'd say, hey, just give the demo to the DJ. What would you say is the proper approach to say, hey, you know what, I need you to listen to my music, or even if it's DMing a radio host or whatnot, because I like what you do on IG, specifically Instagram, is that you have some edutainment, you have some comical content, and you also have some content that you really share and you help people get to another level. So what would you say is a proper approach?
I think the best way, because DJs, I'm not really big into the club scene and stuff, so like I can't say. I think like in general there's ways to approach people, but like one thing that I tell artists that come to the studio, I tell them, listen, because you want to team up with a producer. At the end of the day, like this is what you want to do, like a producer that's going to hear your music and say, oh, like this really meshes well with what I'm trying to do, and let's try to do it together. This is how you're going to get the best. And there's so many producers online nowadays. They all put up their beats on YouTube, on BeatStars, on all these things. So it's not hard to find a producer. Like, go online, listen to a bunch of beats, find somebody that really, like, when you hear their beat, it just inspires you. It does something different to you. Buy a beat from them. Okay? Because they're going to get a million messages of people, yo, just send me free beats, and when I get on, we're going to blow up, we're going to make millions. You're the 100th person that sent them that message that day, Buy a beat from them. And you don't even have to message them first. Just buy a beat. And I'm talking about like a $20 lease, But buy a beat from them, make a song on that beat, and send it to them. The fact that you bought it, they're going to take a moment to listen. You know what I mean? It's not a random email anymore. It's, yo, I really love this beat. This is what inspired. If you have a moment, check this out. Let them hear it. If they write back, if they don't, whatever, leave it. Buy another beat from them. If you buy a beat from them every week for like 3 or 4 weeks, like, unless they're one of those producers that are doing big numbers, okay, your name is going to stand out. They're going to know who you are now by so-and-so purchase a beat. So-and-so purchase a beat. You know what I mean? By the time they see you're the third one, you're their best friend. Trust me, they love you. They're like, oh my God, who is it? So they're going to listen to the songs. And then, I mean, if they're not feeling the music, you know what I mean? They're not feeling the music. You can't force anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's just because you bought a beat and you send it to them, they don't owe you anything. They're not gonna necessarily work with you. But if the music is good and you bought 2, 3 beats and they're gonna say, here, check out these ones. I didn't put out these ones yet, or I could hear you on this,
Right.
and build that relationship from there. You know what I mean? Like, and the idea of just dropping a little bit of money first, it separates you from everybody that's coming empty pockets, hands
Okay.
out looking for something. And like, as anybody in the music industry, this is like not just a producer or engineer, even artists deal with this, with, you know, like promoters trying to get free shows from them and all this. So I think like dealing with people coming with their hand out is something that everybody in the music industry deals with. So if you just come doing proper business from the jump, it's just going to separate you. You're going to be in that top 10% right away. And then, you know, you just let the relationship build naturally from there. If it's meant to be, it'll be, but, you know, don't force it, and just work with what
That's
works.
a great advice, because by investing in that producer, you're creating that know, like, and trust factor.
And there you
Just,
go.
your name's gonna pop up like, hey, again? Damn, all right.
Yeah, I'm telling you, by the second one, like I said, unless they're doing like, you know, dozens of sales a day, which most online producers are not.
You know?
Yeah, what I mean, like those 2, 3 sales, I'm telling you, you're locked in. They know who you are. They're messing with you.
That's great. So, a few last questions I want to ask you. When it comes down to the clinic, I like the name, the clinic. You know, it's very different. So, anybody who wants to record at the clinic and spend some time with you, for the most part, what could they expect, or what is your standard, really?
Well, me, I'm open. I'm not an elitist by any means. I'm not asking that somebody has a certain amount of experience or anything. I work from people who this is their first time in the studio. Like, I enjoy that just as much as somebody who comes and says like, well, I've worked with a dozen different engineers, and they might be a little more jaded, and you'll see that they come in like they're not as excited, like that person who it's their first song. Oh my God, you know, they're seeing the microphone, there's the speakers, you know what I mean? Like, they're fascinated. So it's great, like, energy-wise, I just love to see it, you know what I mean? It reminds me of, like, when I was like that, you know what I mean? And
What's
so
the term, fanboying?
but it's you know, like, it just reminds you of, like, you know, when you fall in love, you know what I mean? Like, when I fell in love with music. So I love to see that. But then even seeing the artist that comes and they're a little more jaded, and they might have dealt with engineers that rubbed them the wrong way, and so they come in, they're a little more guarded. But then, like, 30 minutes in or an hour in, you see them warming up, and you see them, you do a little something, and just like, oh, like, other engineers don't do that. And you kind of see them open up, and then by the end, it's big smiles, and thank you so much. And they, you know what I mean? Like, they appreciate you, like, bringing their vision to life. So it's like, it's, you know, whether it's their first time or it's their 100th time, that's fine. I don't expect nothing but just for you to come with an open mind and open heart, and just trying to make magic happen. If you're trying to do that, then you have an engineer that's really there to make the song as best it can. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not there to push my own agenda. I'm not there, oh, I don't like auto-tune, I'm not putting auto-tune on it. Like, no, man, if you want auto-tune, we'll slap the auto. You know what I mean? Like, it's your vision, you know what I mean? Like, you're the artist. Me, I'm just there to help it come to life, you know what I mean? And that's what gives me a rush. So you're not going to get a guy that just pushes buttons and tells you, yeah, it's cool. You're going to get somebody that's invested, and that's going to help you as much as you're willing to let me help you. You know what I mean? Like, you feel it out. There's some people that everybody comes in saying, oh, I want feedback.
Right.
But from the first feedback you give, you know whether they actually really want feedback or not. You know, they'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, why then? Oh, okay, I'll try this, I'll try that. You can see when they're really receptive to it. And when it's, yeah, okay, no. Like, you know, they shut down the first 2, 3, you can tell, okay, they're not really that open. I'll still throw out the 1, 2, you know, but you play it by ear. At the end of the day, I just want them to be comfortable. That's the most important thing. And I want them to leave with their song sounding better than they thought it could when they came in.
The clinic.
Yeah.
That's it.
To cleanse their soul, you know what I mean?
That's
the clinic,
it.
it's a cleansing of the soul, a cleansing of the mind, getting rid of those emotions, you know, venting, and coming out feeling better.
Just pouring out. Okay. Now, I want to go. We're at a segment called "If You Had the Chance to." So the segment "If You Had the Chance to" is if you had the chance to choose between A and B.
Okay.
Two, whether it's two creatives, two entrepreneurs, two artists, two people. And when I say invest, it means, you know, basically invest your time, invest your resources or whatnot. So I'm going to ask you this question. If you had a chance today to invest your time or invest your money between Hit Boy and The Alchemist, producer of The Alchemist. For anybody who does not know
Yeah.
who The Alchemist is, he's a true legend. Who would you choose right now? And they're also working together, which is great.
Yeah. I know that's tough.
Who would you choose and why?
That's a tough one. I mean, The Alchemist is so deep in the game. You know what I mean? He's worked with so many different people, and like the discography is just ridiculous. So, but then Hit Boy has some huge hits. You know what I mean? Like he's working with the Beyoncés and the Kanyes and all those. So it would be tough. Honestly, it would be a blessing. You know what I mean? Like any type of mentoring from anybody in the game like that would be priceless. I'm gonna say Alchemist.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Alchemist. Because actually there was a little video that I saw Alchemist talking about the.
And he raps.
Yeah. No, but he was talking about the record industry. He's like the industry. He's like, I don't like the industry. He's like, and I'm not in the industry. He says he does industry stuff, like when, you know, obviously a big artist or whatever, you know, then when it's industry work, he gets lawyers involved and he does like the industry stuff. But how he doesn't like the industry and how he operates in his own ecosystem of just like, you know, because now you interact with the fans directly, you know what I mean? Like you don't need the label. Before, the record labels were really like that, you know, like in between the fan, there was the artist, the record labels, the fans. You needed the record label to contact the fans. But now like everything is just directly to the artist. So he was just talking about how he has his own ecosystem where, I guess, and this is me paraphrasing now, he doesn't say this, but I guess like selling beats and doing whatever within just his network, and he's able to live and be comfortable and not have to like deal with the industry stuff. And to me that really, like, it set off a light bulb in my head, because like I was saying, I came into the game when the game was like measured by, you know, being signed and selling X amount of records or whatnot. And so now to see that maybe I have made it, you know what I mean? But just that the made it didn't look like how I thought it would look. Because like, I don't even have 10,000 followers on Instagram. I don't even think I have 2,000. But I can do promos. I can sell stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's like, you know what I mean? I'd rather have 2,000 followers that are invested and willing to pay rather than have 100,000 that are just laughing at you and just, you know what I mean? Like watching you be a fool. That's not gonna, you know what I mean? Like that's not valuable. So like, I don't have much followers, but I have my own little ecosystem I've built. I have artists I work with, and I'm happy, man. You know what I mean? I don't have to deal with none of the politics and all that stupid stuff. I just keep it about the music and
doing what you love.
There you go.
Speaking of doing what you love, what is your proudest moment thus far? And what, last question would be, what would you say at your 16-year-old self watching this right now?
16-year-old self. Wow. Okay. So let's go. The proudest moment, I think, just off top, like one that really stands out to me is the Bad News Brown tribute track that I put together, because I really admired him. I really looked up to him. I met him a bunch of times, but I'm not gonna tell you we're big friends or nothing like that. But like we knew each other. But I really looked up to him, and so his passing, like, as much as it didn't affect me like personally, like I lost a friend, it's like I lost, like, I don't, an idol, I want to say, you know what I mean? To say like somebody that you really look up to, and it's like I was measuring myself off of him, like I wanted to get to where he's at. So like removing him kind of made me feel a little bit lost, you know. And so being able to make the tribute track, it was really like a way to pay homage to him. And I didn't want to make a I miss you track and all that. I knew those tracks would get made. I knew that he has loved ones close to him that would feel that pain and express that. So I didn't even want to step into that realm. I knew that his thing was music, and so I wanted to make a song about music. And I invited, it was 9 different artists to come. I didn't send the beat to anybody. I made them come on the spot. I sampled a piece of Bad News playing the harmonica in the metro.
Okay.
I sampled that. I made a beat, and so that way like Bad News is a part of it. And I just had people come and just spill their heart and soul about music, because I feel like it's really about the music. It's not about his passing. You know what I mean? Like I want to make it like more positive in that sense.
Empowering. Yes.
And so putting that track together, not sending the beat out, having the artist come, hear it, do their thing on the spot, lay it down, and then we all came together and performed it, you know, at the Bad News Brown tribute show, and it was like 10 different artists, like on one song. That's not easy to put together, you know what I mean? Like, and I didn't stress it really, like I wanted to do it, I did it, it came together. It was only after it was done I realized, like, yo, 10 artists on one song, like it would have been so easy for somebody to say, oh, I'm sick, I'm not coming, or show up late or whatever, you know, but everybody was there. And it's just definitely a highlight moment for me.
Before answering that last question, do you mind plugging in that song, or anybody could watch that
tribute?
Or
It's called All I Know, and so Aza's on the chorus, but it has Boy Blue, full chorus, Peso, Alansky, General Q, Zed, Ruby. Ruby's on it too. So All I Know, if you look up Bad News Brown tribute, All I Know, Aza, maybe it would come up.
Got it.
Yeah. And
perfect.
And now my 16-year-old self.
Yeah.
Wow, my 16-year-old self.
He's watching this right now.
Yeah. It would be just do it now, man. Do it now. Looking back, I spent the first maybe 5-6 years, like after I already knew music is what I wanted to do, I spent the first 5-6 years just putting obstacles, like non-existent obstacles in my own path. Just like reasons why, oh, I can't release this now because da da da. And like they're like good reasons, you know, like I'm really good at rationalizing, you know, and talking myself out of doing stuff, you know, but so I would just say, don't do that. Like, you're gonna have enough real obstacles along the way. You don't need to put fake ones in front of your own way. Just do it, and you'll figure it out as you go along. And if you're following your heart, you can't fail, man. It's impossible.
It's powerful. It's just getting out of your own way.
Yeah, literally.
Man.
Literally.
Hey, it was a pleasure talking to you, Merker, man.
All mine, man.
What I need you to realize, or you're probably realizing right now, is that you're wearing many different hats, and not only is your contribution not going unnoticed, it's something that needs to be, you know, highlighted a lot more often, because the way you're putting out content on social media, you may have 50 people to 100 people watch, or even just like 3 people are watching, but just putting it out there definitely makes a difference in somebody's life who's watching it. So, man, I just want to give you your flowers, man, and keep doing your thing.
Man. I appreciate you, man.
Love.
It means a lot to me.
Pleasure.
Appreciate you.